How's it going? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, all of the above. People from around the world, you are hearing my voice being broadcasted live right now from Tulsa, Oklahoma, from my trailer. My name is Lasso. Lasso. For those who don't know, you can call me Lasso. My channel is Lasso's Passions. I got a lot of passions. I'm a very passionate fellow. And that's me. That's me. That's who I am. I got a few things I'm gonna go over. Some things I'm gonna go over. I'm just really hanging out. I'm just hanging out, going over a few things like I usually do. I got this hat on because my other hat, the brown hat, it's really old and it's got a lot of dog hairs on it, and people were making fun of it last live. So I decided, you know what? Let me wear a better hat for the next one. So this is the better hat. So guess what? No more vaping. I'm not vaping. Congratulations to myself. There was a jerk last night. He was like, "Oh, you quit vaping? Yeah, right. You're only gonna last. You're gonna start vaping again." No, I'm done. I'm done with the vaping. I'm done. I crushed it. It's called willpower. I decided, you know what? I don't want to do this, even though I'm addicted, and I do it kind of in automatic mode. I forced my will upon the situation and said, no more, no more. I had to trick my mind. I had to trick my mind. I did a few things to help me stop vaping. I didn't go buy a herb vapor to help me stop vaping because it didn't make it kind of makes sense to do that, but at the same time, it didn't make sense to me because essentially you're still vaping. The idea is to break the habit. So here's what I did. I My last vaping thing that I got, what I would do is I thought about what it was that I liked about it, right? I liked the flavor, the juicy flavor that came from the vape. I liked just the habit of smoking in general. And so, and I kind of wrote down some things I didn't like about it. Number one is vaping, smoking in general, it ages you. Your hair starts turning grayer, things like that. So that was one thing I didn't like. Number two, I didn't like that the vaping itself has some kind of metallic toxins to them. We've seen what it does to your lungs over time. What else? The juicy flavor. I don't know what kind of toxin that's doing in general. So there's a lot of pros and cons, but the cons weigh out the pros, right? So what I started doing with the vape was I would get a sheet of kitchen paper, like paper towel, and I would use it as a filter. I would put it on the nozzle part of the vape. So whenever I vaped it, it would kind of block a lot of the flavoring and that kind of thing, right? So I did that for a while. And then when it ran out, I basically I didn't go buy another one, right? So that's how you stop, right? How do you stop vaping? Well, you just don't buy any more of it. That's how you stop. You just force yourself not to spend the money, not to go to the convenience store and buy this thing, even though your body is like, oh, I really want that stuff. You're just like, you make a mental note and you go, no, I'm not buying it because I know once I buy it, I'll have more product to vape. I'm going to vape it. So there you go. The fact that I stopped myself from buying it, the fact that I used a paper towel as a filter to kind of stop the flavoring. So like you cut out the addictive part of vaping, which is the flavors. So you use the paper to cut out the flavoring and some of the toxins, and eventually it runs out. And when it starts to run out, the vape itself becomes really gross. Like the smoke that you're smoking, it has a really nasty kind of burnt taste to it. So now you're getting a side of the vape that isn't like the delicious flavor and the feeling. You're getting a lot of grossness. And so you're tricking your mind into thinking, wow, this is really gross. I don't want this. It's all about tricking your mind, right? So I just went about it in a smart way. I had to trick my mind, trick my body into looking at this as a disgusting thing. And so, boom. And so once it was completely out, once the vape was out, I still would go to it and try to vape it as a habit. It's like, oh, I really want this, but it was empty. There was nothing, so I wasn't actually using it, but I was putting it to my mouth. And so eventually, I got tired of doing that. Eventually, of having this vape that doesn't even work, like of just putting it to my mouth. Eventually, that I noticed that did nothing for me, so I just stopped doing it in general. So it only took me like 4 or 5 days to well, no, it took me, I want to say, it's been 4 or 5 days that I haven't vaped. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're going to go back to it. You're not going to last." I got a lot of people saying that. I'm just saying in my head, no, I'm not doing it because in my mind, the cons outweigh the pros. So I'm looking at it from a logical point of view. I'm not looking at it from an emotional point of view. It's very logical, and I'm going to stand by it. And that's what it means to be ethical, right? To have character, to have willpower. It comes down to that. Are you going to be a person who has character, ethics, and willpower, or are you going to be a person who folds over because of emotions? It's a very thin line, and it's a very subtle thing when it comes to just vaping and addiction. Your body wants it, and you just have to trick your mind and your body to basically realizing, oh, I don't really want this. It's not something I really want. I just got used to it. I enjoyed it, and it became a habit. And habits, it doesn't take long for it to become a habit, right? It's something you do on a daily basis for I don't know how many weeks. I think it's like 2 weeks or more than that. You form a habit, and you're not even thinking about it. You enjoy it, and that's why you do it. But in the long run, you got to start thinking about the negative effects of it, right? So there we go. I haven't vaped. I'm really proud of myself. And it's only been 4 or 5 days. I started, and it's hard to quit vaping. It is because of stress, and wanting to do a lot of projects and this and that, staying busy. It helps a little bit, right? I think that's why people drink wine and things like that, and smoke marijuana and things like that. But I actually have not smoked marijuana in, I want to say it's been like close to half a year. And I may be exaggerating a little bit. It's more like 5 months, but getting close to half a year. And I was a heavy, heavy marijuana smoker. I smoked, I want to say about 3 pre rolls a day, unless it was a really strong pre roll, which would only be 1 pre roll a day. But I was spending $20 a day. Do the math. We're looking at $500 a month typically. So I think at one point my brain was like, you just can't afford it. You just can't afford it. You need to start thinking logically and not emotionally, and just it's hard to break a habit, especially one that you've been doing for like over 10 years. I think smoking every day, I was doing it for, I want to say, at least 3 years straight, smoking every single day. Um, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not like I had a struggle. I wanted to quit, and then I just found too many reasons not to quit. And eventually, I think what I had to do was again trick my mind, make an assessment, and I think the cons outweighed the pros. And eventually, when you come to a point logically when the cons outweigh the pros, you just naturally come to a conclusion where like, okay, I'm just gonna stop. It's logic over emotion essentially. And so yeah, one day, it's like I don't know if I came, like I said, the cons outweigh the pros, and eventually I just said in my mind either it was weird because suddenly one day it was like, I don't like this. It wasn't like I struggled to quit. It was just one day, boom, I don't like this. I don't want to do it anymore. I tried it and I was like, I really don't like this. I don't like it. So something in my mind broke the chain. And I think when it comes down to it, it comes down to being logical over over emotional, right? Because addiction is more, I feel like, yes, there's chemical stuff happening in your brain. So you can say it's part of the logic, but at the same time, it's not part of the thinking, right? Your thinking overruns, outweighs the emotional aspects of how it feels, right? And so I think that's what happened. I think one day I was just like, bada bing, bada boom. I don't like this. I even like tried it again because the the habit, the addictive part was there. And so I tried it again and I was like, man, I really don't like this. Okay, I tried it again to see, and it was like, no, I don't like this. And that was my last time ever smoking marijuana. And I completely stopped cold turkey. I think like I said, I think something in my head just like snapped and was like, no, no more, no more for you. Um, do I think the medicine of marijuana was helpful throughout the years? Yeah, I think so. I think throughout the years, I suffered a lot of depression, a lot of fatigue, and mental fatigue and things like that. So it definitely did help. I will say it did help. With a lot of things, stress, all kinds of stuff. But I think what happened was because I've been working on myself, working out, reading a lot, eating healthy, taking, my vitamins and supplements and this and that. I think eventually I got out of my depression. I got out of thinking negatively. And I think over time, being on the positive side of things, it started having a long-term effect in my brain, which is, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's like, depression is such a, it's feeling based, right? It's like I feel bad, and that bad feeling comes from bad thoughts. So it's a weird balance between like kind not ignoring your emotions and feelings, but it's understanding that those emotions and feelings are just as, I don't want to say fake. They're not fake, but they're kind of at the same time unrealistic. So what do I mean by that? Well, put it in this perspective. When you have thoughts, thoughts aren't things that you can hold. They're not real, right? But we still have them. Feelings are not real. You can't hold feelings, but we still have them. So I think it was a point where it was like deciding which thing that we have that isn't real do I want to pay attention more towards? What do I want to, and how can I direct it and be the captain of my own ship, essentially? And so it just came down to that, making sure that my body wasn't in charge of me, that I was in charge of me. My brain wasn't in charge of me. I am in charge. My soul is in charge of my body and my brain. And I tell it what to, what I think is appropriate to feel and not feel. In a way, I'm not robotic. I don't ignore my emotions, but I'm also not sustaining bad emotions. I'm not sustaining depression. I'm not sustaining bad thoughts. I'm being very considerate and concise about what I'm thinking. These are choices I make because I have a soul and because I use my willpower to make these choices and decide, oh, this is what I think is a better path logically. So yeah, no marijuana for it's getting close to half a year. No vaping. Vaping, I tried quitting and I did quit for a while, but then I got back on it. So that was interesting. But now I'm back at a point where, you know, I'm gonna really restrict myself from purchasing another vape, and that's gonna help a lot from stopping me to vape. Now, I do need to find alternative ways to deal with stress. I think eating is becoming my alternative way of dealing with stress. And so, what I do is I eat a lot of nuts and almonds and cashews and sunflower seeds. The habit of crunching on these things. you know, is becoming a habit that I enjoy, and it kind of relieves stress, you know. So in a weird way, munching on, hard foods is becoming my new habit that's replacing these old habits. Um, and things like that. Drink, I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink any alcohol, zero alcohol. I used to drink it socially or like on a date or out with friends, but this year I decided not to even do it socially. So this year I haven't drank a single drop of alcohol. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that. No alcohol, no marijuana, and now no vaping. So I think my body is going to thank me later for that. So, anyways, I'm just hanging out, but I wanted to kind of talk about that for a minute because it's been part of my journey, my life's journey is like kind of getting through depression and through other things and becoming addicted to certain things and now having the journey of breaking those. Alcohol was never a problem for me, but it's just something that I never really cared for in the first place, so it's not a problem for me. So what's next? Well, I did a movie review last night at 11 p.m. I think it's one of my favorite movie reviews I've done because the movie itself, Ambulance, it's a Michael Bay movie. It was released in 2022, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and some other really all the actors were great. But what I will say is the movie is enjoyable, it's entertaining, and it's like one of my favorite movies. But at the same time, it has so many issues and problems. It's hilarious. I've never seen a movie with so many problems and issues. And so, but at the same time, it's really entertaining. So I just think that's funny. Um, it's very fast paced. It's a very fast paced movie. Lots of spectacle, lots of gun shooting. It's a bank robbery. They're being chased. It's a car chase. The whole movie is a car chase essentially in an ambulance. So it's a very exciting movie. There's it's a lot of action, suspense, tension. You know, so it really gets you pumping, right? There's energy to the movie. But like, if you ask me, is it a good movie? As far as how it's like laid out, the characters' story, like character arcs, the mechanics of the movie were there, but the only thing I didn't like was like there's a lot of things that didn't make sense. It didn't add up. There's a lot of shots that also were not what do you call it? There's a word for it. I don't even I always struggle. It's the I said it on there too, and for some reason I can't remember. But it's the um what is it? Sorry, I'm having a major brain fart. Um there's a person in charge of the details of the movie from shot to shot to shot. And for some reason I can't think of the job they do and what that's called. I'm having a major brain fart. But essentially there were so many issues with matching details in the movie. Like for instance, in one shot there's a guy holding a gun. The next shot the gun is not there. One shot the glove is broken. And the next shot the glove is fixed magically. So there's a lot of things like that that don't add up. It doesn't match, and there's a lot of story points in the movie that felt forced rather than like these are authentic character choices. And so it's really weird to see so many mistakes and see so many like poor story mechanical decisions that don't line up psychologically with the characters. I mean, that's kind of really important. But obviously when you write a script, you're thinking about the plot line, right? You're thinking about the plots, but sometimes we tend to overlook if these characters will actually make these kinds of decisions, right? So I just had a lot of issues with, and that's why it was fun for me. The more problems a movie has, and I can talk about them and critique it, it's actually really fun for me. If it's a movie that's like perfect, like take the movie Frankenstein. That movie is like perfect. It has no detail. problems. It's got no issues. I looked really hard for them. I think I found one or two issues, but I had to really search for them, and just I think they were based on like story points, but even so, that was more opinionated than actual like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, I guess either way, it's fine. But so it's not really that much fun when the movie's perfect. Like, there's not a lot to break down and be critical about. But that's why it was a lot of fun. Ambulance was a lot of fun to be critical about and break it apart. There were just so many mistakes. They're fun. I still think about it. Like, it's such a fun movie, but at the same time, it's fun for me because I was critical about it, and to be this critical and find so many mistakes, that makes it even funner. It's like, wow, okay, fun movie to watch and fun movie to critique. Hmm. Does that make it? I don't know. In a weird way, it makes it like the best movie in my head. I don't know. It's weird because I enjoyed it so much and enjoyed critiquing it. But anyways, yeah, that should be available at some point today. I did a live last night at 11. It's like processing. The video's processing right now, so should be available to watch sometime today. I'm gonna do The Covenant, also starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Terrific actor, by the way. I think he's a terrific actor. His performance in Ambulance was great. It was a side of him that we don't really get to see, and so that's why I really enjoyed it. Or in all a different aspect, it's a side that we got to see pretty much on like full on blast, and as an adult versus him playing like a bubble boy or whatever, those October Sky. Like him as an adult in an action movie with his personality at full blast is actually a lot of fun. That equation equals, you know, a lot of fun for a movie. So The Covenant, he was toned down a little bit. He played a little bit more serious. His character wasn't as charismatic, but his personality was still in there, and so I really enjoyed his performance in The Covenant as well. It was a bit more serious, um, and it was directed by Guy Ritchie, which he's a fantastic director. I didn't see, you know, I'll have to watch it again a few more times to grasp it. That's what I do. I watch the movies like 5 times in a row to be able to see these details and break down the mechanics and the character arc and really understand what's going on, um, without having to do research on online. Like, I want to break it down myself and use my brain, right, to do it. Anyways, I didn't see any issues. I didn't see any like critical issues as far as like details not matching. I didn't see any weird story plot lines that were weird or anything. You know, it is different. I'll say that it's different, but it's also kind of honest. It's an honest movie in the sense that it's based on a true story. So when it's based on a true story, it seems like that confinement of the character having, the character is a real person based on a real person. There's a confinement there. And I think that confinement, makes the character choices more on the level. Like it's you're basing it off a real person. Well, this real person made these real choices versus Ambulance, which is not based on real people. The character choices were like all over the place. Like, there was points where I was like, there's no way that character would do that. It just seems very uncharacteristic of these characters doing this and that. It's something about it felt unauthentic. Versus watching The Covenant, you're like, there's never a moment where you go, oh, that's unbelievable, or oh, that doesn't make sense. The character wouldn't do that, considering what we learned from the character and who he is. He wouldn't do that. There was no moments like that. So it goes to show that the psychological aspects of the character and the choices they make and who they are really important in driving the movie. Because if you write scenes just for the sole purpose of moving the story forward without considering the psychological aspects of the character, would they really make those choices under these circumstances, under this pressure, in this moment? The choices they make tell us, the audience, a lot about the character. So there's just things that don't add up, right, when we're dealing with characters and the kinds of choices they would make. But The Covenant, I didn't see any issues like that. There weren't like a lot of story point issues. There weren't any like character issues or character flaws that seem, you know, unnatural to the character itself. But I'm doing that tomorrow at 11 p.m. CST. So if you want to join me for a live review and plot outline, I think for me as a filmmaker and writer, artist, actor, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to break these things down. I feel like in a lot of senses I'm learning a lot, and in a lot of ways it makes me think about, if I were to direct another movie, here's what I would do. Here's some things. Considering everything I'm learning, here's some of the things I would do and pay attention to. Um, so that's tomorrow, 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Covenant. It's a movie on Netflix. Both movies are on Netflix. Hey, Jimmy Roy. How's it going, my friend? Thank you. I changed hats today. I changed hats. I have this hat which I never use because it's in such good condition. It's actually a hat that I got at Venice Beach in California, and I never use it. It's in good condition, so I use my brown hat that I use like almost every day. It's like my Rocky hat. It's such an old hat. It's like deformed. It's it's like full of dog hair. And so somebody was like, kind of making fun of the hat. I give that hat. I get it makes a lot of people make fun of the brown hat, but it's, in a lot of ways, it's part of my personality. I could clean it. I'm gonna clean it. I'm gonna buy a. Yeah, it's like a part of you. Exactly. You get what I'm saying. Yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, I don't know. It just becomes like a part of you. It's weird. But thanks. Yeah, this is from Venice Beach. I was visiting this thing called the American what is it? AF American Film Market, AFM, which I think now they do in Las Vegas. But I went to Venice Beach. What was the actual beautiful hotel that they picked? The entire hotel was turned into basically every room was a little studio or company that represented, a company, and you had to, if you were lucky enough and you had the contacts, you can make schedules. You can schedule time ahead of time to talk with these people, or you can do walk-ins, which is what I did. I did walk-ins. I would go to these different companies and kind of ask around, like, what are you looking for? Some of them were like, well, we're too busy. A lot of them were actually, we're too busy. Some of them were nice, and they were like, well, we got too many of these, we got too many of those. This actor's in too many of the movies, so we can't use them. Weird thoughts, weird thoughts. I thought that was weird. I was like, oh, there's a uh, what's her name? Julia Roberts. His brother is in I forgot his name, but he's in so many independent movies that companies are like, we can't do it. We can't distribute it because he's in so many. It it devalues his like celebrityness. It's weird. Such a weird thought. Like it doesn't, in a lot of sense, it doesn't make sense. But I guess I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but okay. But yeah, one thing I noticed about visiting American Film Market was that there's so many companies, international companies, that do language translations, and like actual language translations, like voiceovers. There are so many of those. I got everybody like, yeah, I don't, yeah, exactly. It makes sense, but I don't get it either. But every person that approached me was and wanted to have a sit down and talk. Yeah, you like the hat? Wordolfo says hat. um, yeah, just about everybody. I met with one lawyer. He was like, "Oh, you're a filmmaker. Well, I could potentially represent you if you ever make like a movie deal or this or that." I met some insurance people. Apparently there's certain banks that exist solely to what do you call it? Do loans for filmmakers, which I didn't know that was a thing. That there's like certain banks that only work with filmmakers. I didn't know that. There's insurance companies, there's lawyers, there's distribution companies that do like the smaller streaming services. Hell yeah! Thanks for the like, buddy. So I met a lot of people, but it really, for me, it was like, damn, there's so much more to this that like is crazy. Like it's on another level that I'm not even at. So I'm not even sure how to get to that level. I think what I have to do eventually is probably move to California and get a mentor that I team up with as an intern and go through the entire process of making a movie with the banks, with the loans, with the insurance, with SAG, with executives that want to see the movie made, casting directors. I can hook you up with this actor and that actor, big names. It's such a process that it's like, good lord, good night. Like you have to really be a businessman, like serious businessman, And so I not that I'm not a serious person, but I'm not there. I don't have those kind of connections. I don't even know where to begin to make those connections. So like for me in my head, I'm like, I think I'm just gonna have to move to California one day, and look at interning with a director and really be with him every single day and like learn what he does, learn his connections, and work it that way. Because I can always make these independent movies, but they're not going to really get me anywhere. If I get distribution on them, they get out there. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, I'm not making connections, and that's really a big part of it. Is you got to make the right connections in the film industry to really make it happen. An auteur, good question. Uh, an auteur is essentially an artist. It's a fancy word for artist in the film industry, independent film realm. A lot of people, some people don't care about it in the film industry. Some people are all about it. Like, for example, you could say that Hitchcock was an auteur. He had a certain style. He did things. Shyamalan is like an auteur. He's got a certain style that he sticks to. And so every director that a big name director. Yeah. Long story short, yeah, exactly. Long story short, it's just an artist in the film world, and they have Wes Anderson. He's got his style, his way of shooting things and telling stories, very unique to him, right? To his artistry. That's essentially what it is. I actually, so I make my own films, my own independent films. I have my own style, my own way of telling stories and whatnot. And in 2010, I won the India Tour Award at a film festival, and I am actually the only filmmaker in Oklahoma who's ever won it. Now there is a female who won it, but I think she moved to New York. She's no longer in Oklahoma. So I am the only person currently in Oklahoma and an Oklahoma filmmaker that has won that award. And I was nominated this year again as India Tour of the Year for my movie Stray Kids. Now Stray Kids took a long ass time to make. It took me 15 years to make. Long ass time. That's what happens when you don't have connections. You do everything yourself. You know, it's a lot of work. And the auteur also is pretty much not just a director, right? If you're the writer, the director, the producer, the cinematographer, the editor, did I say that already? The actor, you're an artist, right? Like Charlie Chaplin. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino's style of shooting feet. He has the style. You can consider him an auteur, but a lot of these guys, though, like Quentin does write his own stuff, but a lot of these filmmakers don't write their own stuff. They don't even sometimes produce the film, and a lot of times there's a person called an AD, first AD on the movie, and he's actually the one running the set. The director doesn't run the set. He's just telling everybody, this is what I want to see. The acting has to be like this. Here's the shot, and they collaborates. But a lot of the times, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just in full conversation mode. Rodolfo. I'm not ignoring you, my man. I'm not ignoring you, but I'm getting into it. I'm getting into it. Sorry, I don't mean to ignore you. Uh, but here in Oklahoma, there's a festival that when you shoot a movie, you write it, you produce it, you direct it, you manage it, you edit it, you shoot it, you do it all, then you get nominated for, and it's got to be a feature film. You get nominated for India Tour, right? And the first year that I won it in 2010, I was up against four other filmmakers from all over the U.S. And one of them, you're never gonna guess this. One of them was comedian Harlan Williams. Do you know who Harlan Williams is? He's the guy. If you don't know, he was in a movie called Dumb and Dumber. He played the cop who like pulls over the van. He drinks the beer, and it's like the guy's piss. That guy. He was in another movie. He's in a lot of movies. I'm a fan of his. Anyways, he's really tall. I met him in person. He's really tall. And so he was nominated for India Tour of the Year. There was another director from Nebraska and some other directors, and that year I won. I was nominated. I don't know what the judging process is, but I know for a fact that the festival understood at that point that that movie that I released in 2010 was like, I don't know, my like 15th feature film. I've been making a lot of films and documentaries and things like that, feature length, and they've been seeing my work, So eventually, I think getting nominated and actually win. I didn't think I was going to win. I really didn't. I didn't think I was actually like on my way out. I was like, I'm not going to win this. They're going to give it to Harlan Williams. I mean, of course. So I was on my way out. I was exiting the theater, and lo and behold, they called my name, and I was like, "Oh shit! I actually won! I can't believe it." Um, and that was kind of a life changing moment because I was actually on the verge of quitting. I was actually on the verge of quitting filmmaking because I wasn't getting anywhere. I didn't feel like I was getting noticed. I was having a hard time just connecting with other filmmakers, and still to this day, I still do. I don't know what it is with other filmmakers, but a lot of them, I guess, just want to run the show, and so you just bump heads with other directors and filmmakers, and it doesn't work, And I'm really flexible. I'm easy to work with, but for some reason, there's just some filmmakers that won't even take the time. So I don't get it. I don't get it. It's either a reputation thing. He said, she said this tainted my reputation. Who knows? And I don't know if that's what it is. But now I don't get to work with any of them because they're too afraid to work with me. They've heard so many things about me which aren't true, and like they don't even want to come close to working with me. So that's okay. I got YouTube now. I'm building my way through YouTube, and like I said, I think eventually I'm gonna have to move to California. I'm gonna take this seriously. I appreciate that, Rodolfo. A lot of people don't know that. I was really discouraged. I was on the verge of quitting. And then I went back to college. I finished my college. I got my bachelor's in arts, emphasis in film, theater, and minor in entrepreneurism. And during my time in college, I made more short films that I was able to win more awards and this and that. It wasn't about that, but it's part of it, right? You want to be noticed by other people because you want to collaborate with them. So you assume you by winning, getting noticed, that they're going to want to work with you. Well, it doesn't always work out that way. So I tried my best to make more short films, get noticed, not just get noticed, but work the craft. Like my time at college was a good time because I was so focused on making short films back to back to back because they had all the computers, they had all the equipment. So I wasn't going to miss out on that. I didn't party, I didn't go to events, I didn't do anything. All I did was concentrate on writing scripts and creating short films for those 2 years I was in college. I got my bachelor's, 2 years. It's very expensive. I didn't want to stay there for more than 2 years to get my bachelor's. So I did it as quickly as possible. It was easier to do it because I already had my associates from Tulsa Community College, which is a way cheaper college. Most of my credits transferred over, so it only took me 2 years to get my bachelor's. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's one of those like summertime hats, Rodolfo, like a summertime beach hat. I got it at Venice Beach, you know. I don't know. Yeah, made in China. Unfortunately, but I liked it. I was like, I would walk from my what do you call it? It was an Airbnb that I got that was like one of those Airbnbs that you share one room with like five other people, like bunk beds. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I never really been to Missouri, but I've seen photos. I've heard people talk about it, so I don't know. I guess that could be true. Is that where you're at, Missouri? Um, yeah, Missouri is cool. We're very foresty, right? A lot of forest, a lot of luscious greens. I imagine. Um, yeah, we have the Missouri River. Oh, you're in Houston. I forget because there's so many people that come on here and I talk to them and I get them all mixed up because there's no faces to the names, right? It's easier when you see a face to a name, but the names I was never really good at that in the first place, so I apologize. Houston. Houston's a big city, right? Big, 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 big city. Um, but so yeah, what's next? Well, besides next week, so that tomorrow I'm doing the Covenant movie review, but next week I'm going to do one on a movie called Caught Stealing, which looks fun, like a fun movie, and then I'm gonna do one on the new Knives Out movie. Two, I forget their names of the directors. I'll have to look at it again and announce it. But two great directors and two great movies for next week. Um, so yeah, and talking about movies, talking about this year being nominated as India Tour, I didn't think I was gonna win again. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think I was gonna win again. Like the chances of winning again was like, that'd be crazy if I won it again. But in my mind, I should have won because my movie Stray Kids is very ambitious, very, very ambitious. In my head, I was like, I'm not gonna win. I'm not gonna give it to me a second time. There's no way. But I think being nominated was good enough for me, and this year again because I think at the end of the day I should have won it for Stray Kids. It's a much better film than I've ever made. It's my masterpiece. Rodolfo says there are a lot of bayous covered in concrete, endless housing, subdivisions, and petrochemical plants on the east side. Yeah, I imagine. I imagine. Big city. Um, yeah. So yeah, straight kids, straight men. What? Well, yeah, I'm a straight man. But Stray Kids is the name of my movie. Um, I'm gonna release it January 1st, 2026. It's the first, yeah, Stray Kids. There's actually a band out from Korea, South Korea, like a K. What do they call those bands? K bands or whatever. Uh, called Stray Kids, and they came out at the same time that I finished the script, and I had a huge talks with my collaborator who shot half the movie with me and helped produce it about changing the name because we're like we can't. I mean, there's a boy band called Stray Kids. Do we really want to? Yeah, K-pop, exactly. Do we really want to stick with that name now? Because what if we get sued? What's the copyright? I mean, they're K-pop, we're United States. Can they, if we copyright it, is there going to be issues? So I decided at the end of the day to keep it. The full actual title of the movie is Lasso's Stray Kids. Essentially, it's got my name in there. Well, Lasso isn't my real name, but I use that in what do you call it, instead of my real name. But it's got my real name, Stray Kids. A lot of directors, old school directors, do that. Like Coppola does that. You know, Coppola does that still. Old school filmmakers do that, where they say so and so's and then title the movie, right? Especially if you had a hand in like really creating it from every aspect, which was the challenge, right? To make a really ambitious film, but to do it from a perspective of being the editor, the director, the producer, one of the actors. It was a very immersive. It wasn't just like directing. It wasn't just being the writer. It wasn't just like I really wanted to push myself, like a Charlie Chaplin type. If you know anything about Charlie Chaplin, he would write, produce, act in his own movies, edit his own movies and all that. So I really wanted to get to that point, that level of immense, uh, just immense, like an immense take on intellectually. And took me 15 years, but I did it. I did it. I don't have the money, the means. It was all I had to be very strategic about. And I'll probably make like the next book that I'm going to be writing about. I'll talk about kind of like the behind the scenes of making Stray Kids, the struggles and all that stuff. Um, that's going to be so. I wrote this book called Dialogues, Oklahoma Independent Cinema. That's me right there. That's my collaborator Bob Dodd, kind of a mentor. That's me right there, next to Sharon. She runs the film festival where I won India Tour of the Year, and this was from last year. I won some awards. Uh, there's me. There's me right there on the set of Stray Kids. There's that Hollywood type camera we used. There's my collaborator Bob, and there's one of the actors, some of the other actors back there watching. And this was from this year. That's me in the middle. I got like a medal and two awards there. Anyways, that's from this year. I got I didn't win India Tour of the Year, but I was given like an honorary title, ambassador, like India Tour ambassador. It's kind of interesting. And then I won best marketing, and then I won best acting. So that was cool. And then it was more like an honorary acting award. Um, that was cool. That was this year. I also won different festivals like best documentary and best feature film, such and such. But anyway, this is my book. What I do in this book is I talk about some of the behind the scenes working in the film industry, but I interview about 14 other writers, actors, producers, filmmakers that tell their perspectives and their struggles. So this book's on Amazon. It's called Dialogues, Oklahoma Independent Cinema. If you're interested, you want to know what's up, buy yourself a copy. So in the second book, this is book one. I plan to write 3 books. This is book one. Essentially, the second book is going to be more interviews, but I'm also going to do uh, more talk about the behind the scenes. That's okay. That's okay. You don't read. I read one year. This year, I read 22 books, and there was one year that I wanted to push myself as far as reading books, and I gave myself the goal of reading 200 books, and I did it in one year. And I didn't just skim through them. Like I actually made sure I read them and understood what I was reading. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Rodolfo. It took a lot of work. Yeah, it took a lot of work. I designed it. I designed the cover. I edited it. I did all the work. I did all myself. Um, so I'm actually hoping to do book tours, colleges, and get a little press. I've gotten press in the past. I got on the news channels and stuff about the stuff I do. So I'm hoping next year I can do a book launch, an actual book launch, and do a book tour to colleges and talk about the book and have some of the people I interview as guests, and like I said, try to get a little bit of get on the news and whatnot. Totally doable. Totally doable. So I was hoping to do it this year, but I just didn't get responses, and but I'm gonna try again next year. I do work hard. Yeah, thanks for noticing. I work very hard. Um, not just, I mean, everything that I do. I mean, I work very hard. This year I did so much. We did a haunted house, huge haunted house, 30,000 square foot warehouse. We had over 600 people come through the haunted house. Not huge numbers, but it's a start. I did the film festival this year in May. Again, we made about $1,000, and it all went to the movie theater as a fundraiser. It was all in ticket sales. Um, yeah, a lot of stuff. I was in a play this year on stage. This historic play called The Drunkard. Ahmed, what's up? What's up, Ahmed? How did your finals go? Did you kick ass? I try to be nice. I try to be nice, Rodolfo. I really do. I've been bullied a lot too. I'll say that. I've been bullied a lot. When I get bullied, though, my niceness goes away. I start to get like really firm in my convictions. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. That could be a problem, huh? If you have dyslexia, yeah, that could be hard. That'd be tough. Yeah, I love audiobooks. There was a time where I was too busy to read because of college and whatnot, and so what I would do is I had a huge stack of them somewhere. I had them here somewhere. Maybe they're in here. Are they in here? No, they're no longer in here. I don't know where I put them, but I had a huge stack of audio CDs, audiobooks. They were all on like business, filmmaking, be a better person, spiritual, all kinds of stuff, psychological. Hell yeah, Ahmed. That's awesome. Everybody say hello to Ahmed. He's from like really far away from the other side of the world. It's an honor to be connecting with somebody. You want me to scream in the mic? Oh, come on. Oh, Ahmed. Okay, I'll do it for you, but I'll do it at the end. How about that? Or just tell me when you're gonna leave or something, and I'll do it. Um, but what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So yeah, Stray Kids will premiere January 1st, 2026. That's my feature film. It'll be free on YouTube. I hope you watch it. I hope you critique it. I hope you comment. I hope you tell me what you don't like about it, what you do like about it. I want to know. I want to hear. The music video I've been working on. Okay, I've met. I will. I will. I've done it before. Was it you that requested that, or was that somebody else? Because someone asked me that before. Was that you? I'm thinking it was you now, but somebody asked me to do that, and I did it. So I'll promise I'll do it. I'll do it at the end. There's no way to donate right now. I'm not like I haven't made it to that status on YouTube where I can do super chats and this and that. So I'm not there yet. But if you want to donate just by being my friend, I'll take your friendship. Um, but anyways, I was saying that yeah, the music video, we have like a not an official date of release, but it's going to be close around there. February 4th of 2026, we're looking at releasing the music video. We have a little bit of editing to do. Um, by the way, they have enormous pumpkin pies for $5.95, but apple and pecan are nearly 20. Huh, that's weird. I wonder why it's more expensive. Havman, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. All the best to you. Maybe one day I'll get to that point. Yeah, surely I'll get to that point on YouTube where I can start taking donations and whatnot. Costco. Costco. Does anybody want to explain to Ahmed what Costco is? Costco, I mean, is like it's pretty much a giant warehouse of like a food marketplace where everything is a little bit less expensive than your average grocery store because they sell everything in bulk. So when you purchase stuff in bulk, it's the price is a little lower. They even have like a membership, so if you pay like a membership fee, I think costs are even lower. I don't know. I don't do Costco because I think it's all a scam. Like I don't think you save any money, in my opinion. Yeah, it's like it's an enormous supermarket, the biggest there probably exists in the US. I mean, it is the I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It is the epitome of capitalist society, like supermarket. I think it's hilarious. It's all good though. People love it. Yeah, you can buy a whole pallet of whatever you want. It's crazy. There's other stuff you can buy. It's crazy. Yeah, very true. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. Capitalists are they have a lot of stuff. We're very stuff oriented, which could be our weakness, you know. We put stuff over spirituality, you know. But yeah, but it's all good fun, you know. Well, it provides a lot of things for a lot of people in the states. Um, I'm not like I'm not, what do you call it? I keep thinking stuff. There's a better word for it. Like, I don't really care for stuff, you know? I'm not like crazy to own a lot of stuff. And like, I'm not a big materialistic person. That's the word I'm looking for, materialistic. But a lot of Americans are. And there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. But I guess to everything in moderation, I guess. But to some degree, I guess it can be harmful. But that's a whole other philosophical talk that I'm not prepared to go into. Um, really, really, it's dangerous because of the war with Ukraine, or just in general. Like it's just dangerous. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. I mean, I don't know anything about Russia. I couldn't tell you anything. So that's crazy to hear. I mean, that's cool that you went to visit Russia though. That's pretty cool. But yeah, sorry to hear that's dangerous. That's crazy. Like, do they have military people everywhere? Like military presence, just like standing there. Because I went to Italy, and when I was a kid, it wasn't like this. They didn't have military presence everywhere. But now you go to Italy, you see a military guard just standing there in the middle of the street. A couple of them talking. It's like, that's pretty interesting. Rodolfo says, I pride myself on my wonderful fashion sense, so I buy all my clothes at Costco. That's kind of funny. Um, I thought you were going to say something like, I go thrift shopping or something. Or what do you call that? Thrift shopping? Or, yeah, thrift stores? Nice. Man, I envy you that in a lot of sense, there's so many countries like scattered all over there. It's a little bit easier to travel and get to those places. The United States is like enormous, and the only place we can go is either down south to Mexico or just up to Canada. There's not a lot of options. But so there's a lot of envy there. Well, good, Rodolfo. You should be a Costco model. um, but yeah, that's one thing I envy about Europeans and Middle Easterns and all that. I mean, you have so many options to travel. I'm sure dangerous. I'm sure there's a little danger into that. No way. Are you serious? Dude, if you do, I'm gonna cheer you on. If you do, we gotta stay in touch, and I'm gonna be your number one fan. Like I'm gonna be rooting for you, even though it's not even the same country. I don't care. Like I'm gonna be rooting for you, bro. If you do it, do it, please. I'm gonna be so rooting for you. You have no idea. What are you gonna do if you do Olympics? What are you gonna do it in? Are you doing soccer? Are you gonna do what? Yeah, tell me. I think the Olympics is in the States coming up, like in LA or something. Yeah, let us know. We'll cheer you on. Yeah, in Los Angeles. Yeah, I thought so. Taekwondo, holy balls! I didn't know you did taekwondo, dude. Oh my god, dude! If you do, I'm gonna be watching for you. You have no idea. I'm gonna be cheering for you, watching for you. You know that's cool, dude. That's freaking cool, man. That that's freaking cool. All right, you got me. You got me there. Um, what else? What else? One thing that I am kind of disappointed is that I've been applying for jobs. My resume is top notch. My cover letters are top notch. My samples of my work is top notch, and I haven't heard back. So I'm a little, that's one of my goals for next year is to get a full time job. I'm looking at doing a media coordinator job, like those kinds of jobs. Ahmed says, I'm good at two sports, soccer and taekwondo. Dude, that's awesome. I'm sending slow because of it. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, internet can be a little slow. I mean, you're so far away. It's crazy that we're even talking. It's crazy to me, and we have a friendship now, it seems like, which is pretty cool. That's like, internet. Pretty crazy what you can do. How many, like who you can communicate with, who you can connect with. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Yeah, stay in touch from now on because if you actually do it, I really do want to cheer for you and cheer you on and just like tell everybody how great you are. How about that? Um, but there's a lot of man. There's so much conflict in the states right now. I'm gonna be 15. Can I? Wow, you're just 15. No kidding. I thought you were a bit older for some reason. I don't know. I think you maybe ask. Do you know what Chat GBT is? I don't know if you do or not, but ask Chat GBT the age requirements for the Olympics in Los Angeles. You might that may be too young. You may have to train for another. How much they do it every 3 years or so? I mean, you can train for another 3 years, and I think you'll be old enough. Um, but that'd be cool, man. Either way, if you did it, that's really cool. That's really cool. That's a great goal to have in life. That's a great goal to have. It's good to have goals, and to strive, work towards them, to be the best you can be for your future, for your own self, your goodness. You get a chance to represent your people. There's a lot of reasons, right, to do certain things like that. But yeah, disappointed. Haven't heard back from those jobs that I applied. I'm a perfect candidate, but that doesn't mean anything. So in the meantime, what I do plan on doing, I'm going to keep applying for jobs. But what I do want to do is another passion of mine is drawing and art. So I'm going to be teaching art, doing some courses on YouTube for free. I mean, I know some people don't care, but there's a lot of opportunities. I'm gonna be working off these books. A lot of opportunities to learn something here with drawing. This one too also has a lot of interesting little, do this, do that, how to draw that. So I'm gonna be next year creating some courses, free courses on drawing. So I'm excited for that. That'll keep me busy. What else? What else? I got a telescope recently. I didn't buy it. My funny story. My dad bought it. He was trying to find a gift to give, my nephew or something, and I guess it turns out they already have a telescope or something that they still need to build or whatever. So, anyways, my dad was like, "Okay, well, we'll just build it here," and so we assembled it. I even made a little short video about assembling the telescope, and I haven't used it yet, but it's ready to go. So I'm hoping to like look at the moon, with it or something. think that'd be a lot of fun to just kind of look at the moon. I think there's a way to place my phone. It's got like a phone holder, and there's a way to record it, I think. So I'm looking at that. So I might be able to post some magnified moon sightings with my phone. I've also been posting this thing on a daily basis, twice a day, where it's like these little cards. Jimmy Roy's says, "That's cool. I go to art class at my social club on Mondays." Oh, someone's part of a social club. That's pretty cool. Um, that's cool. So yeah, they'll be up there, Jimmy. I'll have these free courses. Who knows? Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you can, if you think they're cool and great, maybe you can share them with your social club. I don't know. I've taught art classes. The biggest class I've ever taught was 60 students. Typically, it's like 12 students at a time, like a freelance class, independent class. I'm not tied to any school or anything. But the biggest amount of people I've done is 60 students. It was quite big and challenging, and I really enjoyed it. I really did. Um, so yeah, so I've been doing these things called crush your goals. So I post these little these cards that have inspirational quotes on them and whatnot. I've been posting those. And what else? And I plan to do more paintings of celebrities. And what I actually plan to do, because I already have 12 paintings of celebrities, and some of them are signed by the actual celebrities. What I plan to do is make prints of. Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate that, Ahmed and Jimmy. Um, with the paintings I have, I plan to make prints because a lot of people ask about the paintings. They want to buy it, and some of them are like, you know, they're not for sale because it brings a lot of value to the movie theater, and that's the whole point of doing these paintings and having them signed. Unfortunately, no, Rodolfo, I do not have a wife. I am not lucky enough to have a wife. So me, a celebrity, come on. I'm just a regular Joe. I'm just a regular Joe. But I uh, I enjoy this stuff. I'm all about the movies. I love comedians and actors. I have a real enjoyment to it. So being one of them isn't necessarily my goal, but I do have an appreciation for the craft. Just like I'm sure Ahmed, you have an affinity appreciation for taekwondo and soccer. I have a passion and affinity for acting and writing and arts and theater, right? But I Ahmed says, "Can I know something about you? Like, why don't you have a wife?" I couldn't find the right person, man. I tried. I had girlfriends and whatnot. Financially, I can't support it. I've never had a good enough job to support a wife or even support myself. You know, if you read my bio, it says starving artist, and not a lot of women want to be with the starving artist. Yeah, deal. Ahmed, deal. I would love a committed wife that's ethical, loyal, spiritual, and all that. But it's kind of hard to find in the states. I don't know if you've seen enough YouTubes about women here in the states. They're pretty crazy. Some of them are feminists. A lot of them are feminists. It seems like these days. There's actually a graph that shows women today in the U.S. are becoming extremely liberal, which is making it difficult to like find a wife. And of course, the LGBTQ movement here in the states makes it a little bit more difficult as well. You got a lot of people who are doing same-sex marriages and relationships. So it's difficult, man. It's difficult to find. Unless I go to like church, which I need to. Um, it's hard to find a woman that has all the things that I want in a woman. Also, you know, a woman, let's be in her shoes. She wants a man who's got a good job, right? And this and that. And I don't have those things. But Ahmed says, wait, my country will bring me to the military. I will be 15 in the military. That's how our country is. I'm cooked. Not necessarily. My dad was in the military. It seemed to do him really good. It seems like a lot of people who do military, it doesn't mean you're gonna die. I mean, I know a lot of people who did military service and they're perfectly fine, and they actually end up being really good people, some of the best people on the planet. Very disciplined, very ethical. You know, but there's some necessarily, right? I guess it depends on the person. But my dad did military service. He turned out really good. I will marry you, says Rodolfo. That's funny. That's hilarious. Well, unfortunately, you have to be, for me to marry anybody, you have to be a woman. and and probably closer to my age. And I am a person, no offense to you or anybody, uh, you know, I'm very spiritual, and I truly believe that your body is your temple, where it houses your soul, and so it's very important to me to be the best body that I can be. So I take care of it. All right, you got to go, or I'll scream. Oh man, this is for you. But my friend in the Middle East, it's good to have your acquaintance. Uh, yeah, I truly, you got to have a good time. You got to have a good time. Ahmed, you have a good night. I'll talk to you soon. Good luck with the Olympics, finals, and school, and all that. You got this. You seem like a stand up kid. You got this. Anyways, yeah, bye. Yeah, I'm the kind of person who, if I do those things, I would expect my other half to be the same way, to have the same philosophical views, spiritual views. Your body is your temple. You protect your temple. You want it to be the best it can be to house your soul, right? I don't hate fat people. I don't hate fat people. I just have an expectation. If I my you can do whatever. It's a free country. But if I have the expectation of myself, not others, to be fit, right? I would want my wife, my other half that's going to spend the rest of their lives with me, to have the same views. You know what I'm saying? Um, Naturally, you would think the person you marry, your other half, would basically be a mirror image of you, because you share the same philosophies, you have the same spiritual senses, you have the same ethics, and this and that. You would think that ideally, right? Ideally, I'm not saying that's how all marriages work out, um, but for me, it's very important to be like disciplined, um, in a lot of aspects of my life. So, you know, I guess it is what it is. If I didn't have those things, I probably wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. Uh, I wouldn't call it just fat. Let's just say some extra weight, you know, which is not a bad thing necessarily, but I don't know. I just have standards that I require of myself, and I want my significant other to meet those same standards, right? No more necessarily, and no less. Just about the same, right? And if she had standards, for herself that I had to meet in order for me to marry her, which is like, let's just say, have a good job, then I'm gonna work my ass off to get that good job, right? And unfortunately, for the longest time of my life, I haven't had a good job. Um, it sucks. But you know, there's other factors that go into it. To get more personal, I actually can't have kids. So the wife my future wife will be have to be okay with me and us not having children because I can't have any kids. So that's one aspect that hurts the future possibility of finding somebody, right? They would have to be okay with that. They would have to be if they had their own kids, not a problem for me. If they didn't have kids and wanted kids, we could adopt, look into that route. Not a problem for me. If we want to be foster parents and foster kids, that wouldn't be a problem for me at all. I still want to find a way for us to have a fulfilled family life, whether it's fostering, adopting, whatever the case. But, you know, that's just one of those things that I don't know if it'll ever happen. It could, I guess, if I really set it as a goal and really tried to nail because like I'm very goal oriented. So if I try to make those as goals and work a little harder on that aspect, possibly, possibly I could obtain those goals. But there's no guarantee. These are extremely difficult goals, like meeting somebody who has the same standards as me and it all lines up and they're okay with us not having kids. That's very difficult and rare, um, already in the first place. So it makes it challenging, right? Um, so, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. All things seem to be possible, right? But there's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantees in life, and it's something that I had to come to terms with. I think part of my depression earlier in life, because it was early in life. It was cancers that I had. It basically ruined the opportunity to have kids in the future because of my cancers and all that. So I had to learn early on in life that I wasn't going to have kids, and that brought in a lot of depression in my life. And I had to overcome that. I had to accept it. There's just certain truths you just have to swallow and face. You can't hide from it. And you just got to take them on. You're dealt cards in life, play them the best you can. That's all you can do. No one gets the same hand of cards. Everyone gets a different hand set of cards, and you got to just be wise to how to play them. It seems unfair, but at the same time, it gives us a chance to find our way. All of us are on a journey. All of us have our own individual battles, journey, the path we're on. It's all individual. So, you know, you just gotta do the best you can. You gotta adapt. You gotta learn. It's all about what you can do, right? Not always people are gonna be there to help you out. What can you do to help yourself out? Sounds cheesy, but it really is. That's what it is at the end of the day, right? So it's been about an hour. That's usually for how long I go for these hangouts. I had fun with everybody. Jimmy, Rodolfo, Ahmed, I think he's gone, and everybody else who's on here. I had a lot of fun with you. You're right, Jimmy. It's life. Life is one big cheese. Just kidding. I'm not sure how to make a metaphor out of that. Life is like one big cheese. You can melt it. I don't know. I got nothing. All right, I'm out of here, folks. I'm glad you liked my hat this time. Oh, I love cheese. Oh, I freaking love cheese. All kinds of cheese. So I love life. I love cheese. There it is. There's the metaphor. I take it in all kinds of forms: melted, not melted, creamy. You know, all kinds of cheeses. All right. I salute you all. I think you're all fantastic. and had fun with you guys who commented below, and we're talking, connecting. So until next time, my friends, my name is Lasso. For those who don't know, welcome to Lasso's Passions, where all I do is chase after my passions. So probably let's do one Friday. Let's do a Friday hangout, Friday afternoon hangout. How about that? All right, all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma, broadcasting live. I'll be seeing you on the next one, I hope. See you, my friends.